G'day Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's a Bulldogs Rising Star Player Watch episode 2 after the great success of talking about Chinadu Uday. Really blessed to have been able to give an insight into his story and who some of his favourite players were and that sort of stuff, and just to see his highlights and his progression so far. But we've got another one, William Afualo. Like, what a story behind this kid. I've been blessed to have been able to share in his inside story from his whole pathway from, basically from when he was born all the way to competing and putting his best foot forward to play in the NRL. So I've got a bit to go through with this, quite a few really awesome highlights to look at as well, which I'm really grateful to have been passed on. So we will show them as well. And there's some stuff on YouTube with his highlights, some very proud family and friends who have always got around young William, but he has done a lot of worked so hard, and the journey's been one which he's had to make some pretty tough choices, and and where he's put himself right in the spotlight for a future in the NRL, which is obviously all these kids' dreams, and he's another one fighting for his life to make that dream a reality. So he's only 178 centimetres tall. He's same height as me, 5'10", weighs 100 kilo. Plays a lot bigger than he looks, though, I can tell you that much. 100 kilos is still very solid, especially in that grade. One of 7, 5 boys and 2 girls. I'm one of 7, 2 boys, five girls. So interesting. But it's not about me, but, I can't help it. Loving Christian family. Really been driven to succeed. He's the middle child, right in the middle. He works as a teacher's aide at through the Bulldogs Players Career Pathways program, and he studies part-time in a Bachelor of Criminology and Criminal Justice at Western University. So it's great to get that insight on how the Bulldogs and it's not just the Bulldogs helping these kids. It's these kids like William who are driven to succeed. Whether it be rugby league or in another chosen field that they're really passionate about, and it's great to see how that can be combined and how rugby league can help be a pathway to both of those great careers and interests. So really well done there. He was born in the Bankstown Hospital, as many of the locals were, August 8th, 2004. So he'll be 21 this year. 21 years old in August. Grew up admiring, and obviously born in a pretty good year, the year the Bulldogs last won the premiership. And, Sonny Bill Williams, Willie Mason and Benji Marshall were 3 of his heroes growing up. His passion for rugby league really began at about 4 years old. It was ignited then. His 2 older brothers, so they taught him how to play rugby league in the backyard. And he developed a real passion and love for it very young, living in Punchbowl. His first club was one of the most successful junior clubs in the St John's Eagles. Check out their Facebook page if you want to learn about more new and up-and-comers coming through. He played alongside players such as Joash Papali, who is now playing and on the extended bench for the Parramatta Eels after having to leave beloved Canterbury. Obviously, he also played alongside Shaquille Tavita, Jonathan Sewer, who we did a player watch on recently, Lachlan Brodelo and Junior Tapau. In his first ever game in under sixes in a gala day, he scored 4 tries, and that really ignited his journey from there. But look, there's a little bit to talk about, because this journey, it's really worth sharing. I'm inspired to read it. And in 2012, his family moved to Melbourne, and he moved down there with them as well, which, although the Storm had been in since 1999 and there had been the beginnings of some pathways and that sort of stuff, it was still very far from being sort of from what it is now. It's a lot more advanced now, and there's a lot of, it is growing there. It's been a long-term project, and it's the people who live there who have worked so hard. And it's quite funny. It was a new set of challenges and opportunities for William and his family. His parents basically had to create a team so he could play back in 2012. Like, he loved rugby league, but there was hardly any teams there, and they had to create one. So they had to go and recruit a whole heap of kids and stuff. Which, obviously parents are so fundamental in the journey for all these kids, and everyone knows that, and the NRL does try its hardest to sort of celebrate that. But sometimes I think people do forget that, when they're mouthing off about players and stuff like that, and talking about them like they're robots or just there to, take care of your emotions and make you feel good. They're all kids who have been raised by families who have come from different backgrounds and are all trying their best, So I think we should try and remember that before we open our trap sometimes. He played for the Altona Roosters Club from under 9s to under 12s, and then later joined the Sunshine Cowboys from under 13s to under 15s. So these are Melbourne clubs. And they enjoyed an impressive 3-year undefeated premiership. Throughout his entire junior career, he played 5'8". So William has been playing centre and wing since basically being at the Bulldogs, but obviously, got some silky skills playing 5'8", halfback, centre. And he actually got selected for the NRL Victoria Junior rep sides and represented Victoria PSSA Rugby League in under 12s in 2016. He was also selected for the under 15 Australian schoolboys squad in 2019 and received a scholarship to attend the Victoria University Secondary College Rugby Academy program. So that's the sort of stuff they're building in Victoria, and that's what the Storm are trying to get cranking down there. So William was one of the first big success stories coming out of that. And in 2019, he was awarded the Victorian Male Representative Player of the Year. And he landed a contract with the Junior Melbourne Storm Academy in their development program alongside Sua Falongo, who recently made his debut last year. And, there's a lot of talk about Pappenhausen having to move on because Falongo, who is absolutely electric, and we all saw that when he first came on the scene in that game against the Broncos at the end of a season when they just played all their juniors coming through. And he was absolutely fantastic. But in 2020, they went for a trip to Sydney. He also had a bit of, his mother's brother, his uncle, passed away, which was a real challenging time. And he also lost a very close friend in Solomoni. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce the name. So it was a very tough set of things to deal with, losing loved ones, losing best friends. And, it's always one of the toughest things to deal with in life. So to get out of Melbourne, they took them on a break to Sydney just to take their minds off things. And then COVID-19 hit. And they got stranded there. They couldn't leave Sydney. They couldn't go back home because they were stuck in Sydney because of COVID. And obviously, you can imagine that. You're away from home. You've just had this you've lost your uncle. You've lost one of your best mates. And now you're stuck. You can't go anywhere. You're in another place. Fortunately, that's where they're from. That's where he was born. So they'd sort of gone back home. But still, Melbourne was now home. With these difficulties, though, they're like, well, if we can play rugby league here, let's play. And it was hard for juniors to play rugby league when COVID was on, especially at that representative level. He had a manager already, Paul Sutton from SFX Management, so shout out to him. And he advised him to play a season in Sydney during the lockdown. So he returned to St John's Eagles and played for the under-16s team in 2020 at St John's. And then he got selected to trial for the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs Harold Matt side. He made the team at centre and was so proud of that achievement. But then he had to decide, because once they could go home, he had to decide whether he would return to Melbourne and take on the scholarship that he had there, or sign with the Bulldogs, who really wanted him. After discussing it with his parents, they all decided the opportunities in Sydney were too great, and they stayed in Sydney, and he's stayed with the Bulldogs ever since. There's better competition up here, much more, obviously, just so many more players of high quality to compete against. And that's obviously one of the difficulties in Melbourne, where they've got these stars coming through, no doubt. And William was one of them. But there's just not as many of them, so it's not as dense. So yeah, they wanted him to become the best version of himself and help develop his craft. And by being in the home of rugby league in Sydney, and knowing this is what he wanted to do, that's what they decided to do. And they went with the Bulldogs. They made the biggest sacrifice. So his family up and left Melbourne purely for William to carry this NRL dream, right? And, he'll be forever in debt, as a lot of these young kids are that you see. People talk about kids getting offered more money and leaving and that sort of stuff, and you got NRL clubs trying to manage salary caps and get value out of their juniors, but other clubs see that this junior is worth more than what their current club can pay them, and they got to take it, because most families aren't rich, and that's a fact. And they have. And sometimes, they make these sacrifices, and all you want to do is take care of your family. And I think that's another case of that here. So, but they, I know from my family what they did for me. So, look, big issue straight up. Tore his ankle ligament during the club season for St John's. And then he was on the sidelines for the grand finals against the under-16s Milpera Colts, and that really put him into depression. So that's another thing, when these young kids who have got all the talent and they're coming through, and they get that injury, and it's so cutthroat that many of them don't get another opportunity, or it's so hard to come back. Plus they're doing school, plus they're trying to focus on their studies and everything else, and it's so hard for everyone. It's not just an injury that you get to rehabilitate. They're not professionals yet. They're part-time. So but as they say, these challenges make the man. And But Will actually, he lost some motivation. He put on weight, but he didn't give up. And from what we're seeing now, that's a testament to him. He got some help and guidance. He got a personal trainer, worked on speed, and joined the Nitro Speed Academy under the guidance of Amir Ghazawi. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He started a long-term ongoing speed and agility program under the coach Michael Afulalo, and joined the box fit twice a week with his coach Dave. So those doing all that activity and working on himself physically, it's really helped with his mental sort of. It helped with the mental side of things at the time, because he was very depressed. But he did all this stuff, and has been smashing it ever since. And they've been there for him the whole way, and he'll forever be in their debt. He regained his confidence, he regained his speed and his motivation, and he went from 110 kilos, so he put on about 10 or 12 kilos, while, or probably more, because he would have weighed less then, and got up to 110. And he actually, through doing all the box fit and and all the speed work, he lost 12 kilos and got down to 98 kg, which was fantastic. And he actually earned a spot in the starting team of the under-17s Bulldogs Harold Matthews side in 2021, which he was super proud of. That was the turning point. That was what he needed. And since then he's worked his way up the ranks. In 2022, he made the under-18s New South Wales CCC team while attending Holy Spirit College, Lakemba, alongside Joash Papali. They travelled to Redcliffe together, and went in that 1 week under-18s Australian schoolboys tournament back then in 2022. So he's played in SG Ball under-19s for 2 years. He then under-21s in Jersey Flegg for 2023 and 24, and he's still eligible for them this year as well. So this is his third year of Jersey Flegg. He's played a few Ron Massey Cup games against the bigger men and stuff, and he actually played New South Wales Cup in round 11 last year. But in that game, he tore a ligament in his shoulder, which set him back a little bit. But look, and he's also got to play in that trial at the start of this year, and he's off to a great start. So look, after the Jersey Flegg Grand Final, and he scored a fantastic try in the right corner, which was brilliant. He has been getting some offers from quite a few clubs. So the Dogs extended him a year, which is a real good faith in the kid. So he had the Roosters, Rabbitohs and Tigers chasing him. The Dogs extended him, which is fantastic for 2025, which I'm really happy about. His ultimate goal is to debut at the Bulldogs, a club that has nurtured his growth over the past 5 years since his move from Melbourne, where he got stuck during COVID. And if it happens or not, he'll keep moving forward and keep, building on that hard work ethic. He's learnt that success doesn't come easily, but with determination, hard work and support, anything's possible. Very grateful for love, support and guidance of family, friends and personal trainers and mentors. He loves his junior club and coaches who have looked after him. From his under-6s coach, Michael Shannon, all the way through to his father, Daniel Afualo, Jack Simo, and Richard Tavita. So, look, this guy is just a wonderful human being. William he does not take anything for granted. He appreciates everything, and it's great to be able to share this story and share this from William. These are his words. He's also had the mentorship, including Pierre Tabbert in under-17s, Mitch Lewis, Luke Vella, and obviously Josh Jackson. Luke Vella and Josh Jackson led our teams to premiership wins, which were incredible experiences. So he's a premiership winner in a representative side, and not just, and a real contributor to the team's success. He's very positive. He's determined to thrive, reach his goals, and make his dreams come a reality one day. So very in awe and excited about the future, and hopefully his story can inspire others to chase their passions and never give up. And I'm just blessed to be able to read that out to you guys. Now, people love to see highlights, so let's check out some of William's highlights, shall we? We'll go to this is on YouTube. So thank you to the Rugby League Scout who put this together. I will turn down the volume. But there he is with an intercept. Playing there at right centre. He can play right wing. I think he was playing on the left. They threw him onto the left wing. And here he's playing left centre. You know, so playing both sides of the field. This is the Jersey Flegg Grand Final. What an absolute brilliant try that was. Absolute brilliant try. Danny Gabriel, who's become quite the ball player out there. Running good lines there to score. So he's got a lot of highlights. He's a try scorer. He's a dominator. Beautiful ball. Playing out in the left wing now. So that versatility is so important, and it's something that I've seen since Cameron Serrato's come to the club. It's definitely part of this system to have people with the versatility where they can play as many sides as they can. Obviously, it's difficult for someone who's played 150 games to come out and suddenly swap sides. But for these kids to get them passing both sides of the ruck and running lines both sides, look, you know, rewarded for that charge down there. And he's got quite a bit of speed as well. You know, 5'10", but he looks like he's 6'4". I think that's Callum Donaldson or Patrick Young. I'm not sure. He's got John. Is that Ragiri Warwick beside him, or was it Jono? No, that's Warwick giving the ball there against the Seagulls. So there you go. That's a really good. I really enjoyed that. Okay. We've got some stuff there on that I want to show you as well here. So this is when he won as a young fella, won the Victorian Representative Player of the Year. William Afualo, 2019 NRL Victorian Male Representative Player of the Year. So already getting some good accolades. That's his photos. 2012 and then in 2020. So these are the young fellas. There's Junior Tapau. There's William there. 8 years later. Joash Papali. 8 years later. And Shaquille Tavita. So there are his mates growing up. And the kids he grew up playing footy with before he had to go back to Melbourne. Come back and then got to play with them again because they were all still playing rugby league, doing what they loved. Here's some good highlights of William and the team in playing against the Tigers. There's Joash giving him a good ball, and he's just got that presence of mind. Too strong, too powerful. It's great to see his highlights. Here, look at this. Like, it's very bad defence, but he's just too good in this class. And really good balance as well. See, that's one of the things, though, with highlights. It does show a lot of the tries and that sort of stuff. Geordie Mazzoni, another one in this grade. You'll see a lot of kids that you're getting to know pretty well now. And William's a big part of that as well. Who wants the ball? William says, I want it and I want to score. There you go. Too easy. And it was a tough game that day against the Tigers, but they got the win. Here's a game in Flegg. Looks like last year. Watch this. Bang. You know, there's it was 100-1 to score a try from that. He's unbelievable. In the Superman dive. See, Geordie's playing the left wing in this game and Will on the right. We saw in other games, Geordie was on the right. And Will on the left. Like, they just... It's great what they're doing with these kids. This is going back to Victoria. So quite a few highlights there. Not sure if they're just of Wool. I think this was in the grand final. One of the grand finals down there. It might be just a William. Yeah, that's him there. Look at him. Just galloping away. Too good for that grade. 42-0 against, looks like Northern Territory. Just too good. Then playing Country Rugby League. Group 3 Country Rugby League side. And he's racing away again. You know, who would have thought that Victoria could have a side beating a Country Rugby League group side? Like, I know it's a state versus a group in New South Wales, but still, they're coming from a long way behind. 48-0 versus Northern Territory, up the left-hand wing. Look at this. Just a real goer, knows where the try line is. One-handed put down. Does a little dance at the end. A happy guy. This is a game against the Cronulla Sharks. We'll see. Good catch from William there. Offloads to Joash, who he does some good stuff off the offload, which is good. And then we'll see a really good try here. Try assist for Joash Papali onto William Afualo. They grew up together. Eli Clark comes in. Luke Smith, the captain. Joey O'Neill. He's all amongst it. We don't hear enough about him. And Joash kicked the goal from out wide. This is back in the young days. There he is, just tearing through in Victoria. So there you go. I think you get the hint. There's quite a bit there on him. And here he goes again. Easy put down for a try. This is a good try, this one. I love this one. I think this was in SG Ball against the Rabbits. Or it could have been Harold Matts, but I think it was SG Ball. I'm not too sure. But very good try. And there you go. And and I'll leave this playing in the background. It's just the grand final in Victoria. You'll see it's sort of got a few of the highlights there. But look, it's just been a pleasure to share this about William Afualo. A real good up-and-comer who's got a chance to live his dream in the NRL, hopefully with the Bulldogs. You know, it's hard to imagine these kids actually getting a go, but that's what you got to understand. The club wants to bring value through the juniors, and the ones who win the race are the most committed, the most determined, and there's many of them who you can put in that basket. And hopefully William gets to live his dream, and I'm rooting for all of them. I'm rooting for every single one of them. So hope you enjoyed this and got to learn a little bit about his journey, because William deserves a chance and an opportunity, I believe, and he's getting that opportunity. And, you know, everything that he's done and his family has done is led to this point. And, you know, there's still a long, long way to go. And I just hope that he's able to get his opportunity with the Bulldogs. That would be lovely. That's the ideal. That's what we want to see. And I don't think he would let anyone down. He's a very, very good player. And we saw that in the Jersey Flag Grand Final. You know, he can finish. The way he could finish that try was phenomenal. And he skittles players as well. Like he is a solid, strong outside back. You know, who's probably got the determination. Like he'd play anywhere they asked him to play, I swear. So let's get behind William Afualo when you get to watch some games. If you're watching the lower grades on the it used to be the New South Wales Cup app, but I think that it's on something else now. I forgot the name of it. Which I didn't get but if you're interested in that, I think it's about $20 a month. They've got all the games and all the highlights. not just a select few. They got heaps more, which is why it costs a little bit more. But yeah, it's get behind them, get out the game, say hello to them, let them know you're there, get a signature even. Might be worth a lot of money one day, you never know. But, that's all I'm going to say about William Afualo, episode 2 of Rising Stars. Hope you enjoyed this and look forward to, the next one. Take care, everybody. Go the Bulldogs and go William Afualo. Thank you so much for sharing everything. Go the Dogs.